And welcome back to Comcast Connect Live. We thank you for being with us this evening. I'm your host, Ashley Brown, and if you've missed any portion of the show and want to watch it in its entirety, it is available on demand. Channel 1, Get Local, and then go to CSRA TV and pull up Connect Live and the appropriate date for your show that you'd like to watch. We got them all up there ready for you. We're going to shift gears a little bit now. We've talked with the arts a little bit. We had Ms. James from the library on telling you about their literary event they've got coming up Saturday, and we also had Mike Montalvo about a new business in Columbia County, a new fitness club that's huge, 54,000 square feet, that is coming to Evans. Also, we're going to talk about a new business here, but this is an interesting twist. This is a husband and wife team, for lack of a better term. Brent and Kelly Malik are with us. How are you?
Great, thank
Kelly
you.
And Brent. There you go. Well, Kelly could be either one. I got Ashley. I could be either one.
Right,
but Brent lets us know for sure. No, but now you guys, this is an interesting story because there are a lot of husbands and wives out there that have started a business. But there are very few that have been in the business world and been successful for a long period of time, like you guys both have, and then decided to kind of drop all that to do your own thing. And I guess we'll start, Kelly, we'll start with you. You were in the corporate world for 2.5 decades, but 25 years.
Yeah, I started basically out of high school.
Yeah.
And my previous experience in my first life was retail management, where you get a whole bunch of different experience, whether it's operations, personnel, customer service.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. I always say if I owned my own business and I was looking for somebody, I'd look for a real well-rounded retail person.
Yeah, because you got to put a smile on your face sometimes.
You
You got to be
work a lot of
stern
hours.
sometimes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep,
When you have to deal with employees and the public, man, that's a tough.
Exactly.
That's a tough thing to juggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the first 10 years of my career, and then I started working the outside sales world, covering large territories, selling commercial park and recreation equipment, actually.
Oh, wow.
And we've moved several times over the years, and when we were in North Carolina, I actually started consulting with people that were doing the same types of things, owning their own businesses like I was doing, and helping them hire reps, find those different people, train those different people, and really giving them some sales skills and developing their businesses.
And
so
you said, wait a second, this could be this could be a whole new job.
It's something that I enjoy doing is working with companies to help them with their people issues. And so Brett really has the human resource background. I've been exposed to it, being married to him for 20 years. But that's where his expertise comes in.
Well, tell us about your background, HR director in a hospital setting. Talk about that a little bit, Brent.
Yeah, indeed. I've spent the last 25 years in human resources, and more specifically in healthcare as a concentration. But people's issues are people's issues regardless of the industry. So, really the soup to nuts of working with folks and developing human resource strategy, human resource training and development, systems and processes around the human capital component of any business is kind of what we decided to concentrate on.
I was going to say, so you're both doing this, and you got your thing, and he's got his thing, and then you said, wait a second, let's put this thing together now, and that's how you came up with the business.
Exactly,
right? Yeah.
Exactly. I actually started researching some assessment pieces where you actually can have potential employees that you're looking to hire come in and take a brief survey to see if they really are a job fit for the specific job you have in your organization, in your specific industry, with your culture in this area. And that was fascinating to me. And when I started to learn a little more about it, it was more than just people that you're looking to hire. It was a tool that we could help with your employees all the way through their entire tenure with your company, whether it is a leadership development where you want to move them into a management position now. There's a tool that we use for that can say, well, yeah, they're ready for this, they'd be great at it, or you know what, they're really good where they're at, you need to grow them in this manner first. And it was really more up Brent's alley than mine, but I found it fascinating, and I was training to do that, and it just kind of came together where I said, you know what, do you see a need for this? And he said, absolutely, and so we kind of went from there.
And it became Talent Focus Consulting. That's
Correct.
the name of the business. And we're with Brent and Kelly Malik of Talent Focus Consulting, and you can find them on the web at that, talentfocusconsulting.com. Now, when you hear Talent Focus Consulting, obviously you're telling us now a little bit about what you do. Are you surprised a little bit? And when you've got a business and you're the business owner, it would seem to me the most important thing, other than making sure you know where your money's at, the most important thing is who's going to be in charge of being your face to the public, in charge of the money or whatever. a lot of times, though, it seems like sometimes it's so hard to find people, you almost have to hire whoever you can. I guess, Brent, you try to make sure that let's be a little pickier and let's get the right person in here.
Well, absolutely. It's really about job fit, and particularly in today's world and in today's economy with business owners and leaders, we're simply unable to make the sorts of decisions that were sloppy in the past, where we could take people and sort of weed out the underperformers over time. We really have to be more acute about how we're picking the right people today. So a lot of what we're focusing on, as Kelly was talking about, the assessment side is really about job fit. It's about making sure that the folks that a business is hiring are the best suited to be top talent, to be top performers, to be able to really excel in that environment. The difference between a middle performer and a top performer, the productivity is a 50% difference. And to be able to select somebody on the front end or groom somebody into the level of top performance really adds straight to the bottom line.
Now, have you seen that you might have a person, let's say you've got an employer who has a person that they think highly of, dependable, comes to work on time, clean cut, does a good job, whatever. But for some reason they're not doing their job as well, and it's just the fact that they're in the wrong position. They might be good for the company in another area. Is that part of what you guys try to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the interesting things that we're finding in this economy is that there's a lot of people looking for work. So you've got a lot of really talented people.
You can be a little pickier at what
well,
you do.
exactly, but on the flip side of that, we're finding that people will come in, take a job, do very well at it because they are very talented, but they're still searching for another job. They're still searching for that job that's right for them, and they've taken a job in the interim because that job was available. And the employer all of a sudden loses them in a year or 6 months down the line.
You've trained somebody and spent money on them for 2 months, and then they're
you're surprised when they leave. And the reality is it just wasn't a great fit from the start.
We can help with that on the front end and identify that may be a problem down the road.
That may be
with the tools that we use.
That may be one of the biggest things in saving a company money right there, just figuring out who those people are. Now, one thing also in this economy, and I've seen this firsthand, certainly where I work, is people have to wear many hats. You know, if you have a company, that used to have 80 employees and now they've got 50, they still got to do the same stuff.
That's right.
Are you finding that sometimes somebody might find a job they're more suited for just because out of necessity they've had to do it?
Sure.
Does that happen at all?
Yeah, absolutely. And we can also address that through training and development. Once we identify an individual's aptitudes and skills, and we can see that they're ready for a future promotion, let's say, but they might need some new experiences. They might need to lead a team. They might need to manage others. They might need to do a project that would groom them for that future. And we can identify that on the front end and work with a business leader to say, here's the types of experiences to give that person so that when that leadership position opens up, they're really ready for it.
All right, Kelly, let's say I have a business and I call you guys. I want you guys to come in. I like what I've heard, whatever. What's the process? What do you do to begin with?
We really just listen. I mean, we come in and we listen about... We come in and we ask, well, why did you call us? Where's your point of pain? There's got to be a reason for that.
Sure.
And a lot of times, what we think might be the initial problem as they talk and they tell us, well, maybe this isn't an issue of you have high employee turnover. Let's figure out why you have high employee turnover. Maybe you've got a management issue. Maybe you've got a manager who's not performing, who's making people unhappy. But going through that process and that really asking questions and really putting on we really don't come in and say, okay, this is what we can do for you. We just listen to what people have to say and try and get to the bottom of what it is that their issue might be, and then come back in a second visit and say, this is what we heard, and these are the things that we can do to help you fix that problem, and we really kind of go from there with them.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Brent. If I'm out there, business owners are certainly watching out there. Some are probably sitting there going, "This is for big companies, big corporations." I think it's the opposite. If you're a smaller company, and that's what makes our country go. If you're a smaller company, let's say 20 employees, 25, 30, it's more imperative, I think, that you have the right people in place.
Well, it's certainly from small to large.
Yeah.
I certainly would not suggest that it's only large companies that should pay attention to their human capital issues.
But a lot of large companies do. And
they've got the resources to invest in an HR person. But a small company, I think to your point, if it's 20 people making one bad hiring decision is 5% of your population.
Good point.
If it's 2,000 people, it's a much smaller percent. I can afford to make that mistake a little bit more. But in today's economy, that's getting less and less. So our concentration is really employers between 5 and 5,000. I mean, it really can be any size.
It's a good point, though. Like you said, a lot of the bigger, the 5,000, they might have an HR. They probably do have a person in charge of HR. For the smaller companies, a company like you can be in charge of the HR almost.
Absolutely.
I mean, instead of having to pay somebody full time.
Or come in and do special project type of work. We're talking to a couple people locally right now about, they approached us at a chamber event and said, do you guys do leadership development? I just need somebody to come in and give our guys some confidence to speak publicly and talk to our customers in a professional manner. And Brent's got a ton of experience doing that and has actually written those types of programs for the companies he's worked for. And I've had a lot of experience training the customer service end of it. So I mean, there are so many different things that we can do on a small, come in a couple of weeks, work with your company basis, and then get out, where you're not paying us a salary to do that. And that's really what we kind of put our heads together and said, our family thought we were crazy. First of all, that we're working together. Second of all, that you know, in this economy, you're going to try that. Who's got the money to hire you? And you know, our response to that is, who can afford to mess with the money? Right now, I mean, you can't really afford to make a bad decision regarding your people issues. And like you said, people are trying to do a lot more with a lot less people, and you need the best people to do that.
It's decision insurance, basically.
Absolutely.
Well, we've shown that in the selection side as an example, the typical interview process will identify a top performer only 17% of the time. Through some of the work and the tools that we use, we can move that needle up to about 74% of the time. That's a huge return on a very small investment for a business owner to make sure they're getting the best people to help serve their customers and serve their business's needs.
Well, the great thing about you two guys is that, man, retail, outside sales, and head HR. You have pretty much everything covered now, don't you?
We're hopeful. We're hopeful that we've made the right decision.
But really, I mean, there are very few that could, you know, a duo of people, whether it's a married couple or not, that could come together that have that background. I mean, that's a unique situation that you guys are in. So I guess, you know, the next step for us here is basically people need to call and find, you know, I guess go through those steps with you. Oh, well, obviously. If you'd like to find out a little more detail and find out how maybe they can help you guys, Talent Focus Consulting, you can give them a call. The number is 706-945-1592. That's 706-945-1592. Or you can go to their website, talentfocusconsulting.com, and get a little more detail. But you know, the basic, we've gone over the basics of it. I mean, like you said, in the economy we're in, you absolutely positively need to be, you know, people sometimes, it's almost a bad thing when you hear, oh, he's tight with his money. You have to be, especially in business if you're in charge of running a company, not just for yourself, for your employees. I mean, if you go out of business, all those people are out of jobs. So it certainly warrants bringing somebody in that knows what they're doing. And man, that 17% to 74%. That you just mentioned, that's a pretty big gap that you can certainly shorten. What is the typical? I guess it would depend on the size of the business, but on what's the typical time you spend when a business hires you to come in, and let's say they're going to hire you to come in and look at the people they already have, figure out, do we have everybody in the right place? Are we getting the most efficiency out of our business? How long what's the typical time you spend with a company? Does it just depend on the wants of that company?
Yeah, it really does. It could be as little as a couple of weeks and as much as several months, depending upon the size and the scope of the project. But you know, we're happy to work in the small projects because that's how you first get your connection with the business and demonstrate what we can do and the value we can add. Well, especially and if it's a big project, we're happy to take those on.
Oh, well, sure. But especially if you are a smaller business out there, but you're looking to grow, and we've got a lot of great local business owners. I tell you, know, for our, and I'm sure a lot of communities are like that, but I'm just blown away by some of the folks we have here, and they take such pride in what they're doing. And if you're one of those business owners out there, you know, maybe if you are going to do something like a leadership weekend or conference, that's a good time to test you guys out, for lack of a better term, to bring you in kind of see what they can do for you with Talent Focus Consulting. Well, it sounds like a plan. Look, it's a leap of faith anytime you're doing your own business, but I think this is great because of the backgrounds. I think that alone is going to really set things on the right path. Thank you so much for coming in, Kelly and Brent. Thank you for being here too. We appreciate it. Brent and Kelly Malik with Talent Focus Consulting. You can go to their website, talentfocusconsulting.com, or give them a call at 706-945-1592. If you're a business owner out there, you check out the website and again find out a little more about what they do. But it sounds like a great plan to me. Another nice new business we have right here in the CSRA. We'll take a time out. We'll come back and wrap things up for another edition of Comcast Connect Live in just a moment.